This thing's gonna be big. Super amazing, big, huge. Fuck it, we'll do it live!
This is Pursuit, and we're celebrating villains on Metal-O-Mania tonight!
Hey man, is that Metal-O-Mania?
Yeah, man.
Well, turn it up!
Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra!
With empty air when nothing gives you meaning. All way not to not a comic book villain. Do you seriously think I'd explain my masterstroke to you if there were even the slightest possibility you could affect the outcome?
All right, welcome, Metal-O-Maniacs. Welcome to episode number 211. We have a special guest host with us tonight. We got Nick in the house with us.
How's it going, everyone? As you notice, I'm not Crypt at all.
Crypt is actually in surgery today, so we wish him well and hope everything goes all right. But in the meantime, we had to keep this thing going, so we brought in Nick to have our episode tonight.
I'm going to do my best.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully we make him proud, so we'll see. First song we opened up with, I guess we should start there, was Leech. That was D.O.D.
Featuring a little vocal guest spot from Speed from Soilwork, which, goddamn, that dude is amazing.
He's in a ton of things, right? Act in the Nile is one of them for sure.
With the Night Side Orchestra or something like that. The Night Something Orchestra. It's like his almost like tribute to ELO and God, what a Terror 2000. I have a lot of stuff with him. I'm a big Soilwork fanboy, so yeah. That dude,
nice.
Watch him live. It's remarkable.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, he was in Act in the Nile with Steve DiGiorgio, who was on Metal-O-Mania with Crypt, interviewed once before. That's in our archives. You can check that out if you'd like, if you haven't seen that yet.
I don't know if I have, but Steve DiGiorgio, my God.
Yeah, that was a great one. He was his typical fanboy.
I mean, how do you not? The buttery smooth bass lines, man.
Yeah, good. Very killer. Tonight's episode, on episode 211 of Metal-O-Mania, is going to be about comic book villains. Crypt got together with a couple of guys and talked about their favorite comic book villains of all time. So that's going to be a pretty good one. Are you into comic books? What's your...
Oh my God. Well, unfortunately, I want to say Crypt got a hold of me a little bit late, and I think he already had people booked. He actually sent me a message and say, hey, you like comic books? And I think I responded, like, well, I got like about 2,000 of them, so don't like them.
So maybe a little.
I've been...
Well, I think you just like to collect things.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I brought Thanos out in all his glory.
That is fucking cool.
Yeah, apparently Corpse Grinder has the same statue, too, which is absolutely awesome.
Oh, awesome.
I've been into comics longer than I've been into metal. Comics was like when I was like 8, and I started buying like Batman stuff and Wolverine stuff, X-Men, and yeah, it latched on big time. And the villains, honestly, is where I gravitated to because that's where the most creative writing I think was. Heroes were always kind of stuck in a box. Villains could kind of do anything, and that was what was kind of fun about them.
Okay, that's really cool. That's a neat perspective. I'm sure Crypt liked them just because they were bad.
I mean, honestly, a hero is often defined by their rogues gallery. If their villains aren't good, then the hero comes off boring. I mean, that's why Batman's so cool. Look at all these badass villains.
No shit. Good point. Damn, he probably missed out having you on here. It's good to get your input here and there on these, so that's going to be good. Speaking of your input here and there, I know that he got together with you guys recently, the guys, you and the other guys from Thralls of Metal, to do, what was the last one you guys just did?
Oh, the 80s comedies. My God. That was all to go through. And that was a difficult list because, I don't know, apparently I laughed my ass off all throughout the 80s because there were so many gems on there. I was like, oh my God, I remember how amazing that was. Like, Fletch and Caddyshack and Ghostbusters. I mean, dude, just that was like the art of one-liners all throughout the 80s.
No shit.
One-liners.
Yeah.
And there was something I left off and was like, man, that was a good one too.
I know people like kind of send in messages with they're like, oh, you forgot about this one. It's like, oh my, how the fuck did we forget that one? You know, so.
You got this one scene that was absolutely hilarious. Like, I know, I remember it.
What's funny is I was saying I don't remember shit, you know, but that show was awesome because it was kind of like a blast from the past. He had all those clips that he threw in there, and that was very fun, very cool to watch.
I was watching that, and he found like so many of the exact moments, and I was laughing my ass off.
Yes,
you know, I would actually even occasionally fast forward through our conferences, like no, I would just want to see what he picked up on. Like, I know what I said. I know what they said. I just want to see the funny part.
That's funny. If you guys haven't seen it at all, check out our archives. That was a really great one. It was a little long. I think you did it in 2 parts, but you guys can check it out and take it in how you need to and give feedback. I hear we're going to be doing another one as well coming up here soon. Sci-fi, right?
Oh God, I'm thoroughly excited for this. As well as being a giant comic book nerd and metal nerd, I'm a huge sci-fi nerd too, and horror. And I don't know, this list was tough because there are a lot of areas where sci-fi and horror crossed over, so I had to leave off some because they're a little bit more
leaned a little, yeah.
Because this would be like, number one completely too. But going straight up sci-fi, there were some great movies I found, and I look forward to this conversation because I get a nerd out. I have a lot of friends that are also big sci-fi nerds, so when we get a chance to just bullshit about those movies, like huge conversations about like those different tropes and everything, like artificial intelligence and should we venture out that far in space, technology being a crutch, there's lots of different things, dystopian futures,
the ones that really like stick with you, right? The ones that kind of like you saw when you were maybe a little too young for that kind of shit, for your brain to really
Oh, I'll definitely have a story for at least one of them.
Okay, good.
I saw really too young, and there might have been a little bit of permanent damage for a bit.
Right, not permanent, but
no. I mean, I grew to love it later. It was just like probably should not have seen that right then.
Yeah. Some of that sci-fi stuff is really cool, but definitely fucks with your brain.
Oh yeah.
That's really funny. And as far as horror movies go, I think that we're gonna put a list together of that as well. I think he's invited the guys, the 2 from Casket Robbery, to join us to do that list. So I think that one's coming up too. So we have a ton of not only like great all new metal coming up, but the topics and lists. I guess he likes to put his lists together of his favorite things. So
lists are fun. Lists are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Plus, it gives you a chance to like bounce ideas off of someone else, and their list is different. Sometimes like, shit, that should have been on my list, but it wasn't because I had to include this. Yeah, it's lists are fun, but they're hell. They really are.
Yeah. I like to see where they, like you're saying, like where they compare, where you have people, the same things on the list. And I kind of wonder if he purposely tries to like pick outside of that because he just, thinks what you're going to already have on the list so he can expand, but.
I don't know. I just kind of go from like what I know I love, like in terms of like if it's a movie, I know I'm going to keep watching it. I want to say like buddies of mine will watch Predator annually.
No shit. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's such a good movie. Or Jaws. I'll watch Jaws at least once a year because that movie had a profound effect on me. I don't get in the fucking ocean because of that movie. Like, no, there's sharks. They're as big as cars, apparently. I'm not cool with that. I know where I don't belong.
That's really funny.
But it's generational, too, because my mom saw it in theaters, and it fucked her up for a while, too. So she didn't get in the ocean for a while, but she's, less of a pussy than I am, so she gets in the ocean.
That's great. Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely get into the ones that I guess that'll be a little bit of therapy. We'll talk about the movies and talk about how they affected us.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like good movies, they'll stay in your brain for either good reasons or bad reasons or just kind of fucked up weird reasons.
Right. Well, I guess we should maybe introduce the next songs. We have a 2-for coming up. We're going to be playing Eternal Struggle. The song is On Broken Backs. This is the second song that we're going to play from their debut album, which is actually not out yet, but it's coming out next week, the first week of May. The album is Year of the Gun. So that's probably what this year is going to be, actually. Well titled.
Started off questionably.
Yeah. But these guys are awesome. They're from Israel, and they actually recently were on with Crypt. They did an interview only like a week or 2 ago. So we played one of their previous songs and aired that interview. So that was pretty good. You guys got to check that out.
I heard the song, definitely like sort of like I guess metallic hardcore, maybe metalcore. There was a lot in there that reminded me of like Vision of Disorder, which is some old school hardcore metalcore stuff that I still hold dear to my heart. And yeah, if it reminds me of something I love like that, jam it.
Yeah, right, right. That's awesome. And then we're going to follow that up with Monarch. These guys, the song is Nuclear Warfare off of this album, Future Shock, which just came out on the 16th of April. So it's available now, and you guys can get that. These guys are thrashers from California. You familiar with the Monarch?
I don't think I'm familiar with them, but
Okay.
I mean, you said the magic buzzword thrash. I love thrash.
Okay.
Yeah, thrash, black and thrash. Just thrash. Just give me thrash.
Okay, sounds good. Well, it just came out, so we'll play it for you here, and you can check it out.
Okay, sold.
All right, sounds good. And we got plenty more, so stay tuned. And we've got all that comic book villain talk coming up, so make sure you hang out for that. It will be a little bit of a long one, but we'll give it to you in 2 parts tonight. We're going to air the first half tonight, and then the second half we're actually going to air on Friday night. So, all right. Well, here we go.
Hey, this is Frank from Eternal Struggle, and you're listening to Metal-O-Mania with the Crips right here!
Time you fucking wondered, didn't matter for shit. All the towers that you built crumble into dust. They will fall. They will fall down. Another hand just shakes another. The millions staring, flash of each other. The ones origin and the smoke's rising. It's not the judge's pain. It doesn't really matter. You don't even time to blame. Just pass it down. You don't even time to blame. Just pass it on. What will you stand behind your actions? How much longer will it take? Lose it all of this. But in our life, we don't need this way. How can you dare to feed us lies of a better day and the whip of safety? What will you stand behind your actions? How much longer will we take? Lose it on our backs.
Instruct him in the matters of loss and pain. Make him suffer. Make him wish he were dead.
Команда X. Циклоп. Росомаха. Шельма. Гроза. Зверь. Гамбит. Джубили. Джин Грей и профессор Икс.
Да, барба ще запетирся.
Some people call me a terrorist. I consider myself a teacher.
America. Ready for another lesson?
no joke, I assure you. It's the fear of victory and the agony of the Scarecrow.
Well, looky here, Metal-O-Maniacs. It looks like a gathering of my friends has commenced again, which is my favorite things in the universe, man. And we're going to talk about some of my favorite things in the universe today, which is our countdown of the worst comic book villains of all time. And I'm joined by you fellas, man. I'll tell you what, Kyle, you go first and introduce yourselves, guys.
What's going on? My name's Kyle DC, and I play in a band called Invicta, Canada, and I also love comic books.
My name's Justin. I run a very small YouTube channel called the Spuot Scoop, and I'm a huge video gamer, and I'm a little bit into comic books too. I'm more into like characters and stuff. I don't do a lot of collecting, but I have done a lot of reading.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Well, and I appreciate you guys for joining me today, man, for real. It means the world to us here at Metal-O-Mania to be joined by my favorite people talking about my favorite things, you know what I mean? I was talking to the Cathartic Demise guys recently, who we just interviewed recently on the show. Get into the archives and check it out if you missed it, everybody. But we mentioned that we were kicking around some comic book ideas, and they immediately were like, oh, my God, dude, reach out to Kyle. You got to get Kyle on the show or you're fucking up your life. Why would that be, Kyle? Why do you think that might be, sir?
Because I won't shut up about comic stuff with them. You know, like they're like some of my best buddies. And you know, we all watch the movies and stuff, and they're casual fans of, you know, all of that stuff, whereas I'm more, you know, way into it down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, brother.
And you know, they don't hear me shut up about it. So
that's good shit. Well, I'm not gonna let you shut up about it, man. I'm glad you're gonna talk about it with us, man. So Justin, I gotta ask you this question to start things off too, man. If someone put a gun to your head and said DC or Marvel, which way do you go?
Marvel.
Marvel.
Right
Kyle?
away, man.
What about you, Kyle?
Yeah, I've been a Marvel kid my whole life.
Okay. All right. Well, we all lead Marvel then. Okay. That's
awesome.
I should have maybe reached out and grabbed in a DC head just to argue with us about it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like the DC villains. I'm a big fan of DC villains.
Oh, we're going to cover some of those tonight, as a matter of fact.
Sure.
They do have some great villains in the DC world. So.
Oh yeah.
That's good shit. Now, on a pre-conversation level, I know that most comic book junkies do not like most of the movies. Me and Skully have watched almost all the comic book movies. We can't wait. But what's your comic-related movie, Kyle? What's yours first?
In terms of like what I like or what I don't like.
What you do? Well, I'll tell you what. Give me one of each if you got one. Give me a comic movie that you love and a comic movie that you hate.
Well, I really didn't like the original Justice League and the Zack Snyder Justice League. I didn't like either one of those.
I'm just getting ready to watch this. I'm getting ready to watch the Zack Snyder one. So you say, don't waste my time. Isn't that like 4 hours?
It's technically 4 hours long, but how long are the ending credits? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like watching Lord of the Rings.
That's funny.
It's like watching Lord of the Rings. It's not that big of a deal.
Right
to me, at least. If a movie was 6 hours long, I would watch it. I don't care.
Me too if it's good. Okay.
But no, I just there's a lot of things for me that I was just like obviously I don't want to like give spoilers and stuff, but my buddy Chip from the band Cathartic Demise, he had said, because him and I watched it together, he's like, dude, they just changed the graphics from PS2 to PS4. You didn't even get PS5.
Damn, that's rough.
So like that, yeah, you know. But there's great moments for sure. But that's just one that I wasn't really a fan of. But if I have to say overall, I think the worst one was the new Fox Fantastic Four movie. That for me was just absolutely sacrilegious.
Why can't they get a Fantastic Four movie right, man? It's such great material there. I don't understand.
They have 50 years of material almost 60 years of material to work with. Oh. And I don't know what's up, but
well, what about a movie you love? What about a comic movie that you love?
Well, for me, nostalgia would be, the first Spider-Man movie. the Tobey Maguire. That's a nostalgia one because that for me, like that Spider-Man movie and like the Spider-Man cartoons, like the 1994. That's what really, you know, as a kid, got me super into that whole realm. But I also, you know, I think that a lot of the MCU movies are great, and X2 is another one for me. That's it's good. They're just, you know, well made. But if I had to pick one of the MCU movies, it would probably be Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah,
that one was really good. You know, obviously Infinity War Endgame is, you know, but just something outside of those two, I think would be Civil War for sure.
Take it. Well, he's stealing all your answers, Justin. But what do you got? What's your favorite and what's your least favorite comic related movie, sir?
Shoot, my least favorite's probably going to be Ghost Rider, mainly because
I know, and that's painful. That's one of my favorite comics ever, by the way. Ever.
I thought it was going to be amazing.
Yeah,
and
Nicolas Cage.
Then they told us Nicolas Cage was going to be in it, and I kind of was upset with that because I'm not a fan of Nick Cage at all. And I thought the only part that was good was the first time he turned into Ghost Rider. Like his screams were actually pretty convincing. The movie was just crap, dude. And then Mephisto was awesome, and they just made him such a boring character. The movie was horrible. A lot of people think I'm crazy for this, but I'm not a fan of the new Spider-Man movies. Everyone thinks Tom Holland's amazing, which he's a great actor and all, but he doesn't feel like Spider-Man to me. It's like I just see him as a kid. Like he's just, even as Spider-Man, he's just playing around. And the other two versions, it was like, I don't know, it kind of felt more, I guess, mature in a way.
Right on.
And then as I go back and try to think about the fight scenes, I can't think of anything memorable. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I can't think of anything memorable that he's done in his last two movies. Like, honestly, I keep forgetting Vulture was the villain of the first one.
Yeah, for sure.
And like Mysterio was great and all, but the movie itself just kind of dragged, but also felt rushed at the same time. It's I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but not a big fan of what the new Spider-Man is. But
that's tough for me, brother, man. I'm a Michael Keaton guy, see? So, you know, he was my favorite Batman, and I like him.
Oh, he's the best Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did great in the movie, but the movies weren't memorable to me. As like,
yeah, for sure.
Like that first Spider-Man movie, even the second one was great. I don't know, this one just feels off to me. Like,
well,
I
got to ask you both, though, with the Tobey Maguire ones, how undone was that for you with the third movie? Because, come on, man.
It's so funny.
It's bad. It's bad, though.
Do you like it? I don't even watch it.
I feel like if they would have left Venom
out. To laugh.
Yeah.
When he comes out singing and dancing and shit, man, I'm like, God damn it, what are they doing?
Yeah.
So funny. And there's so many good memes online of Bully Maguire.
Right.
It's so
I love
good.
that.
But on the new Spider-Man, I actually think the counter of that, Justin, because to me, Spider-Man was always a kid. Like if you, in the comics, he was like 15 when he got his powers and he's learning how to use them. That was like, so I think that's what they were going for, and I think he did it great. But I totally get where you're coming from.
I feel like he played a good Peter Parker.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was a perfect Peter Parker.
I feel like the Spider-Man was kind of lacking.
Yeah, for sure.
I can give you that. Totally. I'll give you that. I actually, you know what? That's a very good point, because I was just gonna say he might be my favorite Peter Parker, because
he's mine for sure.
Yeah.
Right. He definitely encapsulates that young, wisecracking kind of thing. You know what I mean? And that I dig. But I do think it's a valid point, and that it's a weak Spider-Man character, and so I don't know. Good.
Yeah, for me, Tobey Maguire, he was just always just too old and too mature. Right. Obviously, they've made him older, and he was in university, and then he or whatever. Obviously, so that's not a big deal. And then Andrew Garfield, he was just too cool. He was too cool as a Peter Parker.
Yeah,
I felt like he had the darker Spider-Man films.
Oh, for
whereas
sure.
like where Tobey played like the perfect Spider-Man. Right. Like in my opinion, I thought it was great.
I think if
he had all the
Sam
good fight
Raimi,
scenes.
I think if Sam Raimi made the Tom Holland Spider-Man, that would work because
I think it'd be
Tobey
perfect.
Maguire Spider-Man, they nailed the fact that Peter Parker is a loser.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Very good.
In every Peter Parker scene, he's just constantly getting shit on.
And that's
which is
integral to
perfect.
the comics, man. If you're a lover of the comics, that's
true.
Right.
It's perfect. So like I think if Sam Raimi had the Tom Holland, like
I think he's doing a third
Parker,
one.
Yeah,
isn't he?
Sam
I
Raimi
think he's doing this one.
Well, no,
Doctor Strange.
Tom Holland is.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's doing Doctor Strange.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, Sam Raimi's doing Doctor Strange, which Spider-Man's probably going to be in that movie.
Right. Yeah, hopefully there'll be some good. Well, and for me, Emma
Stone.
Emma Stone, right? Emma Stone. For me, that makes those movies better all by itself. I'm a big fan.
I got it. I agree with you. I agree.
I'm going to give that a nudge by the Emma Stone factor. But there you go.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So for my favorite, I honestly just finally got caught up on all the MCU films because I knew WandaVision was coming out and I wanted to watch that.
Oh, it was awesome.
In my opinion, I know a lot of people got it hyped up, but I think WandaVision's probably one of the coolest things they've done. I know a lot of people got let down when it ended. But that's just they hype themselves up on things that was never even put out there.
Existed.
Just because they didn't go by exactly what certain parts of the comics did. Dude, they took multiple stories of multiple comics and put it all into one thing. That's what people don't understand. I think Endgame, dude, like just that scene of seeing every superhero come together. No matter how many times I watch that scene now, I get goosebumps, and it kind of almost makes me kind of want to cry.
Dude,
it's just so emotional.
Totally. I was like, oh man, am I gonna cry right now?
Yeah, it's like, don't cry, man. It's a fucking superheroes, right?
Yeah.
I love you fuckers, man. Skully cries on all those movies. What are you talking about? So.
Yeah, dude. No, it's supposed to. That's how you know it's a good movie.
And dude, as an old guy who, again, I go back to the era of waiting at the 7-Eleven with my fucking coins in my hand for the comic book guy to show up so I could buy my comics. And, the 1984 Secret Wars that me and Kyle were talking about a little bit prior to being on air, that shit was life-changing for me, man. Those are storylines that mean the world to me to this day. Those are characters that are immortal.
You should be happy then because, they're bringing that to the MCU, huh?
I'm exceptionally excited about it, my brother. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to a soul about that. I'm super excited about it.
I think Phase 4 is going to be incredible.
Hopefully the best phase yet. I'm a little disappointed in losing some of the TV shows, but we'll hopefully cover a little bit of that. But I thought Jessica Jones was amazing. I loved the hell out of that show so much, man.
Yeah, Daredevil was awesome, but I heard he's in Spider-Man. Like the same guy who played Daredevil is in Spider-Man 3. So I'm
right. He is.
Yeah,
the same actor, right? Yeah, I'm glad to hear that too, man. He's good. He was a great Daredevil too.
Yeah, I think that was some of the best fight scenes I've seen in any show or movie in general.
In season 2, when Punisher breaks out of prison
Dude, I show people that scene all the time. Like that's one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
That's probably in like a top 5 fight scene of all time for me.
That and then in season 1 where Daredevil's fighting in the apartment. That was all one take where he's like getting tired and shit. That was real. Cause that's all one take.
That's badass.
Yeah, I love that kind of shit.
Good shit. Well, last question I'll pose to you before we dive into our list, guys, is Justin, you first, sir. What was your number one favorite comic reading you were growing up? What was the one you couldn't wait for the next issue every time, above all else?
Oh man.
I know it's a tough one. I know it's a toughie.
I've always been huge into either Ninja Turtles or Spider-Man. That was like my two growing up.
Okay,
I was always big into both of them. I mean, as a kid, I used to run around with my tongue sticking out like Venom.
Fuck yeah. Hey, I still do. So, what about you, Kyle?
I would say actually most recently was the Doctor Doom solo series that they had just recently ended in December. I would say, yeah, my favorite story of all time is probably the Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom, Triumph and Torment. That's a really cool one.
For me, man, I won't lie. My number one, I was a huge Daredevil guy. I was a huge X-Men guy, huge Fantastic Four, big into all those. But Ghost Rider for me was the one, man. The fucking skull head. That was, as a young little kid metalhead, that shit felt like it was made for us metalheads, to me,
Yeah.
I was pretty big into Spawn as well.
Oh, dude, yeah. See, honestly, I'm old. That came a little bit later, but when Spawn came along, I was super in. I love Spawn. Spawn we will talk about tonight.
Spawn's the one thing I never really checked out.
Oh, well, you will after this, brother, because we're going to talk about some Spawn tonight.
It's on the list.
Yeah, killer. Well, all right. Before air, we decided to go in order. We're going to go Justin, Kyle, and then to my loud mouth. But let's start, I guess, if you don't mind, guys, with a couple of our just honorable mentions. We'll just do 2 apiece of these, if that's cool. And for you, Justin, let's start with Omega Red. Omega Red is on your just mention. Just make it.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I wasn't never really. X-Men was actually something I never never really cared too much for. It was one of the few things in Marvel I just, for some reason, as a kid, every time it started up, I would just pass it up as a cartoon. I would never watch it. But the character Omega Red, once I saw him, it was just like, I thought he was so cool looking, and just the red and the gray and the whips and the long hair and that damn Russian accent. He's just such a badass. And I mean, he's pretty much like, in my opinion, the evil version of Captain America. It was just like Russia trying to make their own super soldiers, and well, they pretty much fucked up, and it turned around on him, and he kind of became his own thing and started wreaking havoc everywhere.
Yeah,
but
cool fucking character, man. Omega Red's a cool ass fucking comic character.
Yeah, he was pretty awesome. I mean, I hope we get to see him on the big screen one day. Not that little crappy cameo he had in Deadpool, but like I'm talking about like a full-on villain. Like I would love to see him brought in. But yeah, he's pretty awesome. That kind of what brought me into kind of paying attention to the X-Men, and was some of their villains. And when I started seeing him and Wolverine fight, that kind of blew me away. I just thought he was really awesome.
Well, man, I think something that's probably pretty funny about not just comic book fans, but comic book fans who also happen to be metalheads. There's a reason we're doing a list today of villains instead of superheroes, man. You know, metalheads embrace a good fucking villain just as good as we do any goddamn, as much as we have any villain, superhero in our life.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You want to know who I am? Juggernaut.
Forced to define what's betrayed in your mind, or erase out of time once again left behind. Poison spits your
spider tricks don't work on the Sandman, but do sand tricks work on the Spider-Man?
Oh, this can't be good.
I think he saved my life.
Everybody was kung fu fighting, yeah. Those rabbits were fast as lightning, yeah. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they fought with expert timing, yeah. Kung fu fighting, yeah. Those rabbits were fast as lightning, yeah. This is Henry from Pursuit, and you are listening to Metal-O-Mania with The Crypt and Skully.
Hey everybody, this is Jason French from Protest, and you're listening to Metal-O-Mania, live from the Crypt, motherfuckers!
Fool! You cannot stop me! Omega Red. Just like last time.
Well, and your next one's a good one too, man, because I love that we've got some things that aren't just Marvel and DC to talk about tonight too. But Deacon Frost is a great character, although I guess Blade does fall.
Well, Blade is Marvel.
Yeah.
Blade's Marvel.
I always forget that, but Blade is a Marvel comic, right?
Yeah.
The movies ended up getting done independently, which throws me off sometimes. But right,
Yeah.
Blade is in the Marvel MCU, right?
Yeah, the movies were actually pretty amazing. That's actually what got me into looking into Blade. I saw the second one in theaters when I was a kid, and then I started looking at the comics, and I just thought in the first movie, Deacon Frost was amazing. And then when I started reading into his character in the comics, it was kind of, he wasn't like this crazy overall villain. He was more of like a reoccurring type guy that would just kind of show up and give Blade shit and kind of, I don't know. He was just kind of the antagonist. Kind of like he'd fuck with him and then he'd be gone for a little bit and he'd come back and then he'd be gone and come back. And he was just kind of a goofy guy and
always had something smart ass to say.
Yeah, he was kind of a smart ass. That's what I liked about him. He's a little smart ass.
Fuck yeah. Blade was a great comic too, man. Blade was an underappreciated comic in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like that he's finally coming back in the MCU, so I'm excited to see what they do with him.
Me too, brother. That's gonna be good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff coming in the MCU that I'm super excited about, actually. So, all right, well, let's see, Kyle. Who do we got on your almost made it list here? Let's start with Annihilus. I know that this is a character near and dear to your heart, sir.
Yeah, he's just, the first time I ever saw a picture of Annihilus, I just was like, that guy's sick. It was one of those moments. Without knowing anything about the guy, and then I learned his name, I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. He looks like he's like a, he just looks kind of like a demonic Ultron.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And I just thought it was cool. And then when I learned, he like controls a vast majority of the negative zone and just constantly fucking with the Fantastic Four and stuff, I just always thought, yeah, he's a really cool villain. And then in the comics, there's the whole Annihilation like storyline event that was going on during the Civil War event.
Phenomenal, yeah.
I read into that Annihilation thing, and that's super sweet. Just commanding a giant army of bugs to kill off the universe. It's pretty evil,
Fuck yeah. Hey, and anybody who can hold their own against Galactus, brother,
literally.
Oh yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Somehow, he's able to entrap Galactus and Silver Surfer at the same time. Like, come on, it's so sick.
Silver Surfer is one of my favorite characters ever. So.
Oh, he's awesome.
Well, you got a couple here. You got Gore. Tell me about Gore.
Yeah, Gore's cool. He's not I don't think he's too well known, but his name is, they call him Gore the God Butcher. He's a Thor villain. Basically, he just grows up on this planet, like this super, religious planet. But like their living conditions are just shit. And they're always like, oh, don't worry, the gods will, they'll protect us and stuff. And then his whole family dies, and then he's like, well, the gods don't exist. And then so his whole, planet kind of just like excommunicates him, exiles him, and then he just sees he sees Null fighting, I forget who else, another god or celestial or something. And then Null gives him the sword, and then he basically just goes around killing all the gods of the Marvel Universe, which is just sick.
Fucking sick. Yeah, Null's another great character too, which we'll cover later in the show. But
he's a massive asshole.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, Gore goes against like Thor's dad, the whole thing. They got a real long history.
Oh yeah, for sure. Gore, it's super sick, super powerful.
Well, we're going to touch on one more of your honorable mentions, because this one actually I expected to see on one of our lists, and I'm surprised wasn't. So we got to at least talk about him tonight, man. Doc Ock, baby. You got to give Doc Ock some love. All the Spider-Man love.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, like I had a bunch of honorable mentions just because making a list of 10 super hard, right?
So hard.
There's so many.
It is hard.
Dr. Octopus, he's just always been a dick to Spider-Man, right? And the Superior Spider-Man storyline where Dr. Octopus switches minds with Peter Parker and Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's such a great story. it's he's like a better Spider-Man than Peter Parker was, and you know, he's just I think he's just constantly he's almost like just too arrogant to realize like, oh shit, that's why he never actually succeeds. But he always like does this awesome scheming and then just always fucks it up, and it's hilarious. But yeah, Dr. Octopus, he's just a cool character for sure. I always really like smart guys that are elaborate and clever.
Yeah, we represent the smart. I noticed that's consistent with all of our lists here tonight. We went after not necessarily the most powerful here consistently, but definitely the smart bad guys. We tend to like those evil guys with a brain, apparently.
Oh yeah, they're so much more interesting.
Fuck yeah. Well, and for me too, Doc Ock goes back to being a little kid working, you know, Saturday morning cartoons with the fucking Spider-Man and his amazing friends, and
yeah,
you know, Doc Ock's an old school character, baby.
Oh yeah, I remember watching Spider-Man 2 in theaters, and yeah, seeing Dr. Ock, like those arms, it was just so cool.
And they're bringing that's the same actor that played him before in the movies is playing him again coming up. Alfred
he's gonna be in
a
the third one
like that. I hope it's true.
Alfred Molina.
Same with I heard Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro as well.
Oh no shit! I like Jamie Foxx too, so that'll be cool.
So it's kind of cool that they have both villains from both sequels.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
That's way cool. I love the way they're doing all that, bringing everything together, man. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I hope the multiverse is really opening up. That would be pretty awesome.
Fuck yeah, that's gonna be good stuff. There's lots of juicy storylines in there to play with. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Good shit. Well, I guess I got a couple that I want to get into before we officially dive into our list, man. Starting with, and to me, an interesting character, who I 100% believe due to sexuality has made her appearance in the world, and that's Harley Quinn, man.
Yeah.
You know, people don't realize this is one of the few characters that did not start from the comic book, rather the TV show, and then showed up in the comic and did a role reversal of sorts.
Oh,
you know, usually they start in the comic book and then they show up in the TVs and movies, but this is the opposite of the case for Harley Quinn.
Yeah, for sure.
And, of course, now legendarily played by Margot Robbie, beautifully done. In the movies, you know, every woman loves to be her on Halloween every year. This has become a very pop culture, you know, symbol.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it seems like the popularity never dies down.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's always something.
Well, how can you go wrong? Yeah.
I just wish that they kept the classic costume. I love the classic costume.
Yeah.
The black and white.
Batman the animated series is probably the best like superhero cartoon ever made.
Well, they chose sexuality over the comic look. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Which I get because you know boobs sell.
Right. Exactly.
Who doesn't love boobs?
It does. It does. It does. Are you kidding me? I've been chasing Skully around with a Harley Quinn outfit for a year and a half now, and it's the new one, not the old one. So. But yeah, the Gotham City Sirens, I think they're turning that into an ongoing movie series, if I'm not mistaken, with the whole Poison Ivy thing and all that coming up. And so it should be. There's some stuff to look forward to in the development of Harley Quinn coming up. Former psychiatrist turned Joker's woman turned bad girl. So the next one I want to bring up is Bane, brother. Good old Bane. Wears the mask that keeps him gassed up to avoid dealing with the pain that he's going to have to deal with without it. And he's got the cool-ass Bane voice in the movies and shit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I am the League of Shadows. I'm here to fulfill Ra's al Ghul's destiny.
People forget he broke Batman's back, dude.
Oh, yeah. I never forget that. I love that scene.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was insane.
One thing I like about Bane is that, like, other than in the original, like, in the movie, like the Poison Ivy movie, I forget which Batman it is, where he was just like an idiot.
Yeah.
But like he's not. That was so like poorly done for his character.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I like the newer one.
Yeah, the newer one's way more accurate for sure. It's just like, you know, he's a smart guy and he's the only one to ever defeat Batman, truly.
Yeah, I feel like he actually, compared to what the Joker did in the second movie, like, it was nothing. Like, he just destroyed him.
Oh, for sure.
Like, the Joker did nothing compared to that. Like, it was just a joke.
Right. Well, and also a continuation of that story. He was, when Ra's al Ghul finally gave up on Batman and realized they were, opposing forces of one another, Bane was the successor. Bane was the next choice to be, the keeper of that flame, as it were, I guess. All right, and one more I got to throw out there, man, because it would be just this character. He's, known for his brute strength, but Juggernaut, man, you got to give Juggernaut some love, dude. That was a fucking badass of the day.
Love Juggernaut.
Kane Marco.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Juggernaut's one of my favorite X-Men villains for sure. I just, he's just super strong and it's super cool.
Yeah, dude. And Xavier's stepbrother. Some people may or may not realize that he was Charles, Dr. X's stepbrother.
Yeah.
Very jealous of Dr. X growing up. Thought Dr. X got all the love and the attention, and turned him bitter and nasty, and
Yeah, and I think that's also really good for like people being able to like relate to him. If it's like, oh, my mom likes my sister more than she likes me or whatever, right? And I think that when they do things like that to villains, it makes them way better.
Sure. So relatable. Yeah, I totally agree. And again, whenever Juggernaut, when I was a Spider-Man fan, I've always been a Spider-Man fan, but when I knew that there was a storyline coming up that involved multiple issues with Juggernaut, boy, I was always so excited, excited about that. So, all right, well, we'll get into our list here for everybody. I guess I should also pre-warn everybody out there in Metal-O-Mania land. We're going to be playing metal for you all night. We're going to be talking comic villains all night. And I am wrecked out of my mind, you guys, so bear with me. I am dealing with some health shit, but hey, we fight on, my friends. We fight on. We warrior on!
Oh, yeah.
Much as a good villain would. All right, so we decided before air that we're going to start with Mr. Justin's list. So, Justin, sir, number 10 on your list. We have a little bit of crossover. We'll just kind of deal with that as we go. How about that? We'll go 10 to 1. And when we got some similarities, we got a couple that fell on the same number, so we'll go from there. But number 10 I have for Justin, you have Null, man. Null is a great fucking Marvel comic bad guy, commonly associated, as you know, with Venom and Carnage. But go ahead, please. Great. I love this character, sir.
Null, also known as the King in Black from Marvel Comics. Main superhero opponent, Venom, Spider-Man, and the Silver Surfer. First comic book appearance in a flashback in Thor, God of Thunder #6, March of 2013, but is unnamed. Character's first full appearance was in Venom, Volume 4, #3, June 2018. Null comes from the primordial void and was an ancient malevolent deity who ruled over the abyss. Originally content to slumber in the void, Null was awakened by the light of creation when the Celestials began creating the universe and was outraged at his kingdom of darkness being despoiled. Species, an elder god. Null's goal is to return the universe to darkness. Null can shapeshift, heal, fly, and more. Null also has the power of symbiote creation and manipulation. He can create entities from the darkness or the primordial void that existed before mankind itself that he calls the living abyss. His signature weapon is the Necro Sword. Weakness: when remotely piloting a symbiote, whatever damage received also affects his main being, but his biggest weakness is light itself. He refers to the light as a power that came into being with the Big Bang Theory, created by Danny Cates and Ryan Stegman. Null's claim to fame is he created All Black, the Void Knight, a powerful proto-symbiote to enslave the Silver Surfer. Quote, "I am Null, Lord of the Abyss, God of the symbiotes. The darkness inside of you, that darkness bows to me. I am the Void."
I've always been big into Venom and Carnage and the symbiotes and stuff, but I never realized there was something like deeper and further into it. And when I stumbled across him, I was just like, holy shit. I was like, this dude looks amazing. He looks awesome. He's got this badass sword and these dragons all over the place. And then I find out he's like the symbiote god pretty much. And everything that the symbiotes do, he knows, he sees it and everything. And I mean, he just, I know recently, I don't know how long ago it was, but he made landfall on Earth finally, and the Avengers had to deal with him. And that was just fucking brutal, man. Like the strongest Avenger came out and he ripped him apart like in a second. Didn't even give him a chance to introduce himself. And my jaw dropped when I saw that. And like, I literally took a picture of that frame and I kept it. It's amazing. And then he literally just turned almost every Avenger that was in the vicinity into a symbiote. I want to say I think it was Spider-Man was the only one that got away in the initial like fight. I might be wrong on that, but okay, yeah. I knew like, a few of them got away, but man, it was just brutal when he came along. And I know they're a little further in the story now. The last time I checked, I know it's looking pretty bad for him. I think they said their only hope is like Star-Lord getting some kind of celestial power back or something. I don't know. It's insane, but he's just
that
freaking
storyline
vile,
with
man.
Star-Lord is so good, man. That shit is all so funny to me. I love all that shit.
Oh yeah, Star-Lord's hilarious.
That's a great character.
Null just like he's just so vile. It's just like there's nothing good about him. Like nothing. He's just there to corrupt and destroy and just take over. So everything is pretty much him, you know, like one hive mind. It's insane. I can't think of anything that's more vile than that, really. And then to see him just destroy the strongest Avenger right in front of their face, like it wasn't shit.
Was it? I think it was Sentry. He just ripped
Sentry. Yeah, they rips him apart and
So
absorbs
cool.
the void. Yeah, he absorbs the void like right away. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm Null. Fuck you." He's
and
like, "I know
really
who you
good
are."
writing because of like
he's
one of Sentry's first appearances or whatever. He rips Carnage in half.
Yeah, he kills Carnage right away
Right?
as he
It's
introduced
just
himself.
It's just really clever writing. Donny Cates nailed that.
Dude,
Oh yeah, I loved it. I got goosebumps right now.
I'm glad you said that, as a matter of fact, man, because I know this is no news to the three of us sitting here discussing comics with this kind of passion, but man, the writing is so underappreciated in the comics, dude. The storytelling and the writing is so genius, man.
Yeah,
it's so.
I think people underestimate the fact just because there's lots of pictures that's all that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People like there's so much more to the stories and stuff that are.
And you really
that are,
start
like,
to see it when they start crossing over, like all the characters, and it's like,
Oh,
holy
yeah.
shit, this happened years ago, and now we're getting closure here.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So true. Well, man, and I have a lifelong love of reading, dude, and I directly attribute that to comic books. Directly, it's linked. You know, my love of reading comics as a young person is why I read to this day, for sure.
Oh yeah.
You know? Good shit. Good shit. Well, Kyle, I got it. We'll circle back around to a couple of your didn't make it lists that I kind of skipped because I can't believe Lex Luthor's on nobody's list. Spoiler alert: Lex Luthor is on nobody's list. But
I'm so surprised.
I can't believe it. I'm shocked by that.
And now for something completely different.
All right, Metal-O-Maniacs, as you can see, the badassery continues here at Metal-O-Mania as I'm joined by my friends out of Australia, Flaming Wrekage. What's up, fellas?
Yo, what's going on? Thanks for having us, man.
Made my day being here, guys. Made my day, man. I'm a huge fan. Actually, I'm a huge fan of you guys, and it goes back quite a bit at this point, man. You guys been doing this thing for a minute, and I've been on top of it.
Fuck yeah. That's cool, man. Appreciate it.
I've been on you fucking guys like a spider monkey, man. So, let's talk about it. Well, I guess to get things started, introduce yourselves, gentlemen. Start with you, Dave, if you don't mind, sir.
Yeah, I'm Dave. Play guitar and sing.
And I'm Juz. I play guitar and do windmills constantly.
Fuck yeah, man. Hey, you got to have a good windmill guy in the band. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And tell me who the guys are that are not here for the interview, if you don't mind, sir.
We got Locke. He plays bass, and Matt on drums.
Fuck
So, yeah.
And you guys formed in...
Oh, man. I mean, I guess, like, the idea for the band came around, like, 2010-ish.
Wow.
And, yeah, just, you know, it was a couple of formative years there, sort of working out what the fuck we're doing. But, yeah, I reckon, like, the last, like, 5 or 6 years we've been flat out, like, with this lineup, like, touring our asses off and writing some music and stuff. So, man, yeah, it's been really cool, man. But, you know, you got to go through those first couple of years to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Hey, man, we all mount up bruises to figure out who we are, man. I've always said that, so, you know.
Yeah, that's right. I've never trusted bands that, you know, become successful in a couple of years. You need to be a band for a long time to, you know, figure it out first and go through some shit before anyone's even heard of you. So.
Fuck yeah, man. Blood, sweat, and tears, that shit, baby.
That's right. It, yeah.
Well, I know in 2013, I have Catharsis. I have Catharsis right here, actually.
Oh, really?
And I think it's fantastic. For me, from Flesh to Dust, we played a majority of that on the show. I mean, back then, nobody gave a fuck about the show, but we played a lot of it because I was a fan of that as well. And now Cathedral of Bones is here, man. It's officially out as of February 25th. Let's jump on that, man. Tell me about the culmination of putting out an album, first of all, in one of the weirdest times in the goddamn world, but give me a little bit of background of what it took to bring this thing to light, if you don't mind, sir.
Just.
Yeah. So it really just started with like Dave said, just getting all of us in a room and writing for like way too long. It was really good though because we had the time to like actually put it aside and work on it. Just me and Dave sending riffs to each other constantly, and then taking it to the other boys and working it from there. And then
we did a shitload of pre-pro on this album, like more than, and it was out of just because we had the time. Like that was one really good thing that came of last year for us, was like kind of taking a step back and looking at how we run the band and how we write, and we kind of restructured everything a little bit, and just having that extra time when it came to recording and preparing for the album was just the big difference, I think, in the end. Like we're all perfectionists with writing, and we just rewrote everything like a million times, but we were able to do that because we had the extra time. So in a weird way, it was a pretty productive year, even though we couldn't play live. But yeah, man, it feels really good to have this record out finally. But yeah, there's a shitload of work that went into it. But yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah.
I recently had a band, Mike, as a matter of fact, from Flotsam and Jetsam, tell me that COVID, in a way, he's viewed it as almost like an iron, because everyone who was set to put out things at various times of the year, it put delays into the process, but that has allowed them to iron out things, and the things that you used to rush to release, now you've had the time to kind of marinate with it, work out the kinks. So that sounds like the case for this as well, Cathedral of Bones as well.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Like we recorded this album like 2019, so we sat on it for ages, like, and we just got to the point, you've heard it too many times and you kind of start to second guess yourself a little bit. But I'm really glad that we were patient enough to wait. And the other thing that was really good was it gave us the chance to step back and think about the release strategy really well, like how we were going to go about releasing it and making sure everything was lined up to have the most effective release to put the album out. So yeah, in that regard, it was really good. It was just frustrating, just like having heard those songs so many fucking times and not having anyone else heard them. I was just dying to get it out there, but yeah, man, it was a good thing waiting in the end.
It has to feel good right? It's almost like you fucking had birth finally to get the fucking thing out to the world, right? Like, holy shit.
100%. We gave birth to this.
Yeah. Well, I'm infected by what you birthed here, man, because I got to tell you, we listen to this record all the time in the fucking studio. I just aged myself by using the word record, I know, but we listen to this over and over and over again, man. I love the fucking aggression. I love the fucking, you guys are tight as a fucking drum. I love this thing, man. That's got to kick ass when you guys are in a room together, right?
Yeah, man, for sure. It kicks even more ass live now. We're very fortunate in Australia. We've been able to play some shows. So yeah, that was another, it's been a big piece, like another piece of the puzzle that's finally come together, just being able to get out there and actually play the shit live. And yeah, man, some powerful songs on there. It feels really good to be able to do that. But yeah.
Well,
sure.
I'm glad you touched on that. The world is opening. I mean, that's a huge part of our thing. Finally, I mean, a lot of people are missing shows. A lot of people have been needing shows. I need a show. I need to get into a mosh pit so fucking bad that I'm going through DTs and shit. But that is returning, man. And you guys are on the front end of that. You've been able to do that a little sooner than some of the rest of us. That's got to feel fantastic, right? Are you starting to put together legs of a tour now, or where are you kind of in the process of that?
We've done what, 4 shows now? Yeah, roughly about 4 shows now for this tour. Which is great. Like, it was amazing finally getting back. The first couple of shows were still seated here in Australia, in Sydney, which was a bit odd, but it's a show. So
hey, right, we'll take what we can get, right? Yeah.
Exactly
like
right.
it was weird, but like fuck, man. After like 2 songs, you kind of just forgot about it, and also like in a weird way, it kind of made you play a bit better, or for me at least, because like everyone is just like kind of like, you know, they're in their chair and they're watching you very, very intently. So it's just like fuck, it's all eyes on. It's not like a normal death metal show where everyone's just fucking falling over for an hour. You know, like the first 5 rows don't usually give a fuck, but in that regard, it was, I think it like tightened us up a little bit, especially because we hadn't played at all for like, you know, a year.
Right. Well, that's pressure, man. Fuck.
Yeah, totally, man. And especially like the first show was like sold out hometown show, so we kind of had to deliver there.
Yeah, how'd it go?
Oh, it was awesome.
Really
man.
good.
It was
Really
it was
good,
about
yeah.
as rowdy as you could get for a seated gig, I reckon.
Fuck yeah.
There were broken chairs.
Yeah, some chair moshing. It was awesome.
I am picturing, see how weird, what a weird world we've made it in the last couple of years. But I'm picturing a fucking death metal show where people are sitting back like it's a goddamn, you know, like it's a you know, orchestra concert or something. Like, yeah, oh, I like the way he's, you know, fretting the fucking, you know, like what the fuck? That's crazy. Man.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it was a bit of a trip, but very fortunate to be able to actually play like just at all. And now the restrictions are starting to ease more and more every week, so we're almost back to full capacity at most venues. But it's just been tough for the venues, man. Like I'm sure it's exactly the same over there. Like just being closed for so long, and you know, still having to pay the bills. And like our government hasn't been particularly helpful for like giving the music industry any help. So it's been a long road back for those guys. So we're just trying to get out to as many shows as possible, even when we're not playing, just supporting those venues, because yeah, we don't want to come back to a scene where there's nowhere to play.
Right.
So that's very important.
That's it. We're gonna look after the venues.
That is a big concern, actually. You know, honestly, before COVID, it was kind of our running mantra on the show that as our metal empire kind of rebuilds itself, you know, we're very much of the belief that metal ruled the world in the late 80s, and it's about to if it doesn't again already. But what a big part of that has been the strength of the music, obviously. That's got to be number one. Some outlets, you know, I'd like to think we're a shitty little one on that scale somewhere, but several of those. But then the venues, man, the one area I felt like we were already lacking before this was the venues, and now we've starved a lot of those out of existence even further. And I'm concerned about that. I wonder what we're going to look like a year from now. You know,
It's definitely worrying, man. Definitely worrying.
Crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, one thing is that like it's only taken a pandemic, but people like give a fuck now about like in Australia, like now that there's like quite a few shows like popping up everywhere. It's just crazy seeing the reaction of the punters that are coming out. Like it's almost like it's taken this horrific thing that happened last year for people to realize what live music means to them.
Yeah.
And now they're coming out and like making up for lost time. You know, that people, we played this ripping show in Melbourne the other week where like we've been doing these seated shows, as Juz just said before, and as soon as we started, it was just like, you know, crazy town, just full circle pits. I was like, I haven't seen that for a while, and it was.
I cried a little bit on stage as soon as I saw the pit. I was like, oh my god, I'm back.
I'm gonna cry right now. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
But yeah, it just feels like, you know, people don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, so they're just going to get around it. It's like while they can today, and like people, and shit's selling out left, right, and center as well. It's like I feel like in Australia, like it was always like a big walk up crowd, like no one bought tickets to shit, but now it's like every show is just sold out really, really quick. So people, you know, they appreciate the value of live music because after not having had it for so long. So that's a good thing that's come of it as well.
Oh man. Yeah, I fully intend to leave my first show in an ambulance, my friend. You better believe it. You know, and I'm hearing a lot of that. You know, you guys are back on stages. We're anticipating some of that. It's starting to trickle in, you know. But yeah, I believe you've nailed something there, man. People have been so starved of it that I think they will. There's a new appreciation that we're going to see as we go forward. I hope. I think.
Yeah, man. We've been pretty fortunate on this record. Like the streaming numbers have really, really jumped up, which is really cool. And like, you know, just one person like streaming the album is just as valuable to us as someone buying it. Like if that takes us one step closer to being able to tour in a different market or just expand our fan base anywhere, like that means a shitload to us, man. So just listen to it. I don't give a fuck how you do it. If you want to buy it, that's awesome too. But I mean, I'd love it if you bought some merch because we got some really cool merch on this in support of the album as well. But yeah, man, any way you can get your hands on it, it's cool. It's more valuable for us to get our name out there, I reckon. So.
What does come next, man? I know you guys are about to probably do a full-on tour as the world reopens and shit. Is that kind of really where your mindset is now? Like, let's get out in the world and start just slamming Cathedral of Bones against people's skulls, or?
Yeah, pretty much, man. We've got like a couple more dates for an Australian tour booked, and we constantly keep trying to add more and more and more because we don't want to stop playing again.
Yeah, right.
But as soon as the borders like open up, we're definitely going to look at trying to go more international again. We did Europe and Indonesia in the past. We want to hit the States soon. We want to go to Japan. We want to do everything. So the sooner we can, the better.
Man,
the more shows the better for us, man. We try and like really stack our tours usually, because in Australia, like there's a shitload of ground to cover, like a lot of driving, and we try and hit like smaller towns on the way to the bigger cities on most tours, and that's something we're trying to really push on this tour actually, is because international stuff is probably off the table for a little bit longer, unfortunately. So we're just going to try and hit some uncharted waters in our own backyard. Like there's plenty of places in Australia that don't really get like many touring bands come through there very often. So we're just trying to make that a real focus on this tour, just hit those regionals and just build that fan base, man. Like it can be expensive and sometimes those venues can be a bit of a shit setup, but they're always the best stories and people really give a shit when you come there. So that's something we're trying to push on this Australian tour and hopefully into international tours in the future as well. Hopefully we can get this record overseas on this cycle, but we'll see how we go, man. As soon as someone will have us, we're fucking there.
Well, that's it. My fingers are crossed, man. You get anywhere within 300 miles of Washington, D.C., and you're going to have to deal with this fat fucker in the front row, sir. I'm telling you.
Well, man, it's funny you should say you're from Maryland. That's one of my absolute bucket list shows, Maryland Death Fest. I would love to play on that, man.
Well, there you go, man. Flaming Wrekage. Go and hit like, subscribe, pick up the album, and let's all survive a sin together.
This is Dave from Flaming Wrekage, and you're listening to Metal-O-Mania.
Panda and face the man-ape!
But let's go with your number 10, Kyle, which is Darkseid.
Darkseid, Lord of Apocalypse, God of Evil. From DC Comics. Main superhero opponent, Superman. First comic book appearance, Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, number 134, December of 1970. Darkseid was once an old god called Uxas. Species, a new god. His goal is to eliminate all free will from the universe and reshape it into his own image. To this end, he sought to unravel the mysterious anti-life equation, which gives its user complete control over the thoughts and emotions of all living beings in the universe. Among many powers, Darkseid wields a cosmic energy known as the Omega Effect. This not only allows him to manifest even more powers, but with it, Darkseid is able to traverse time and space. His list of powers is extensive and also includes teleportation, mind control, telekinesis, telepathy, matter manipulation, and many more. While still Uxas, he was known to carry a spear. As Darkseid, he needs no additional weapons. His weakness is Radion and his hubris. Created by Jack Kirby. Claim to fame, he has killed thousands of Supermen in several universes. Quote, had I known one human's death would have pained you so, I would have killed more, and kill more I shall. Carry that agony with you to oblivion, Superman.
Talk to me about Darkseid. DC Universe, back to the DC Universe here with a good one.
Yeah. Anyone that knows me knows I've always been a Marvel guy, you know, like, but, you know, I thought for this it would be appropriate to branch out and be more objective, right? Just to, and Darkseid, he's just evil and he's powerful and he's badass.
Dude,
like,
badass. Pure badass.
Like Darkseid is the DC villain. He is the villain. Everything, you know what I mean? Like, doesn't matter what goes down, Darkseid at the end of the day has the final say, kind of thing. And he's the only character that like people all over the DC universe are just like, okay, we can't fuck with that guy, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's evil as fuck, which I love. He's just so evil.
He just for no reason. He's so evil for no reason, and it's perfect.
Yeah, man, pure evil, dude. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Love it.
You a Darkseid guy, Justin?
Yeah. I mean, same reason. It's kind of like with Null. Like, he's evil just for no fucking reason at all, just because he wants to be. And I just find that pretty badass. Like, why is he doing this? Because. That's it.
Yeah.
He wants
to. Right. Oh, what a great character. What a great choice, man. What a great choice. But we do have to extend the DC talk for just a moment, man. Lex Luthor's on nobody's list. How did that happen, dude?
Yeah, that's why I put him in my honorable mentions because, you know, I couldn't fit him on. But, yeah, Lex Luthor is awesome. I love his character.
Me too, man. Me too. Holy shit.
He's always able to get himself out of any situation. He just always thinks, you know, he's kind of like Batman, where he's just thinking 2 steps ahead constantly.
Right.
Right.
Whenever you think you got him in a pickle, man, he's 2 steps past you and shit. I do love that. Again, continuing our love of smart bad guys.
Exactly.
Number 10 on my list, man. Actually, I swear to God, I thought you guys might give me shit for him being so low on my list. So I'm completely shocked he's not on your list at all. And that's Joker, man. That's the Joker, brother.
The Joker, originally known as the Red Hood, from DC Comics. Main superhero opponent is Batman. First comic book appearance, Batman number 1, March of 1940. The Joker, initially portrayed as a small-time crook known as the Red Hood, was disfigured and driven insane by an accident with toxic chemicals. He was depicted with chalk white skin, ruby red lips permanently fixed on a demonic grin, and bright green hair. Species, originally human. The Joker's goal is to kill Batman and ruthlessly rule over Gotham City. He has amazing speed and cunning in addition to his brazen insanity. The Joker is said to be too smart for even the Riddler to understand his elaborate schemes. Razor playing cards are just the tip of his toy chest full of explosives, Tommy guns, and all kinds of knives and blades. He has also been known to kill enemies with a handshake joy buzzer he hides in the palm of his hand. Despite his genius lethal insanity, the Joker is still a human being and can be injured as such. Created by Bill Finger, Bob Kane, and Jerry Robinson. Claim to fame, he killed the second Robin and permanently crippled Batgirl in addition to driving Harleen Quinzel insane and turning her into the infamous Harley Quinn. Quote, I'm not mad at all, I'm just differently sane.
Old school Joker, brother. One of the best covered in television and comic, you know, Batman's greatest foe. I might make the argument that he's one of the best, you know, DC bad guys for sure. But,
for sure.
You know,
he's probably the best written because he makes them so much money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
That
helps.
He's got the best stories and stuff for sure.
Well, and we assume his name is Jack Napier because it's been referred to in one movie and I think in one comic book. But other than that, it's not really defined.
Well, they actually recently, I think it was in 2020, they did this thing called the Three Jokers storyline. And basically, I don't know, obviously I don't want to spoil too much, but like they go over and
give them a name.
I don't want to spoil too much. Yeah, like there's multiple Jokers. There's multiple Jokers.
I'll have to check that out.
All based off of different eras of the comics, and basically, you know, Jokers you've seen before, they could have died, but you would never know because there's always a Joker to take his place.
No shit. Okay. All right.
That's crazy.
It's actually a really good story. I recommend checking it out. But yeah, for me, the Ultimate Joker, the Mark Hamill animated Joker, perfect.
Yeah, those are great storylines, man. Those are dark. Those are pretty dark storylines, too, for being animated stories. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
My favorite Batman shit is all the dark shit, man. People forget that some of the best storylines in that shit was very kind of almost noir, if you will.
Oh, for sure.
And then very much, you know, embraced a dark storytelling approach.
Definitely.
So the Joker is
well, I mean, that's kind of like detective stories in general are usually pretty dark, and that's kind of what Batman is. He's just a glorified detective, you know?
Right.
I like that they went with that.
Detective with gadgets.
Well, you know, some of the earliest incarnations of Batman were called the Detective Comics, even.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, heartbreaking story I got to tell you guys real quick, even before we move on. When I was growing up, I was an avid comic collector. I put my comics every week in my little plastic sleeves with my cardboard. I kept my shit very organized, very in good shape, and I kept it in my parents' basement. And years ago now, probably 25 years ago now, but they had a very bad flood.
No.
Dude, I had mystery comics with a listed price on the cover of 1 penny in there.
Oh,
man.
no.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what they'd be worth today.
Just don't.
Yeah.
You'll feel better if you don't imagine it.
I had Superman Dies. I had the Superman Dies episode. The end of Captain Marvel. I had all of it, man. It was crazy.
Oh, man.
All right, well, let's move on to our list then. I think it's on to the nines, right? If
Yes,
everybody gets down on their nines list, and so Justin, your number 9 is a good one too. I will say, when I was making my list, I guess it's probably because I'm a little older, although Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has been around for a while, but that one didn't register for me very well. I guess when I saw your list, I was like, damn, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, Karai, am I saying that right? Karai?
Yes, yeah, Karai.
Karai, or in some stories also known as Hamato Miwa, from Mirage Studios Comics. Main superhero opponent, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. First comic book appearance, cameo in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 53 in November 1992, and full appearance in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 55 in January of 1993. In the comic universe, her origins are largely unknown, but she is assumed to be from Japan. Species, human. Karai's goal is revenge and to control and operate the Foot Clan. Karai is a high-level ninja whose special weapons are katanas and swords. Weakness is anger, family, and the weakness of being a human being. Created by Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, and Jim Lawson. Karai's claim to fame is some of the comics have her as either Shredder's daughter or as his adopted daughter. Quote, Orakusaki is gone, thanks to you, but the Shredder lives on.
In the original story of the Turtles, because Karai, she's got multiple versions of her, but the iteration I go with that I like the most is in the original comics, the Turtles, spoiler warning, they kill Shredder in the very first comic. So afterwards, there's no leader for the Foot Clan in New York. So I guess the elites or whatever, they send Karai, because she's pretty much like a general, like Shredder was. So she's just as badass as Shredder. So she goes to take over the Foot Clan there. When she comes across the Turtles, it's more of like she's not really their enemy. It's more of like a rivalry thing she ends up having with Leonardo. And every now and then, It's kind of weird. It seems like they have like a little relationship going on.
Love hate,
Eventually, yeah. Well, after they fight, after a while, they form a truce. So for years and years and years, they stop being villains or stop being enemies. I mean, and then recently in The Last Ronin, which is technically canon to the original story, because it's the guys who originally wrote it, Eastman and Laird, they came back and started this new one, The Last Ronin, and
which
it's
is
about
ongoing,
the last,
right? That's ongoing,
yeah.
correct? Right.
Issue 2 is out right now. The third one's supposed to come out sometime in May, and so far it's pretty jaw dropping. It's about the last turtle surviving, and so as of now, Karai is evil again. They're bad. The truce is off. They've already killed off one of the turtles. Well, as of right now, all the turtles are gone except for one.
Right.
But in issue 2, they killed someone off, and Karai was the one to kill him off. So.
Fuck yeah.
She goes on this list just for being evil as fuck and killing off somebody I love dearly.
Yeah, right. Killing them.
She killed a little bit of my childhood. Yeah, dude. She took a chunk of my childhood, dude. I loved her to death, but now I can't wait to see her die.
Yeah, she got to go.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't even care what her reasons. She's got to go. Oh yeah, I kind of, since I'm talking about it, I want to show it off a little bit.
Oh yeah, what you got? Let's see.
Issue 2 for The Last Ronin.
Fuck yeah,
nice. Yeah.
Good stuff.
I'm not gonna spoil who she killed off or anything, but
it's brutal.
Yeah, 2 people got killed off in this issue, but
it's rough.
It's gonna be rough. I gotta watch people die, watch them all die.
Yeah,
but it'll be all right.
Kill my childhood, brother.
Yeah. Hey, look, if it makes me want to cry, it's like I said, it's a good ass story.
Good storytelling. That's right, man. We are underappreciated for our levels of the storytelling that goes on here, man. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, definitely. See, I'm hoping they do something with the turtles. Nickelodeon needs to sell their rights to somebody who's gonna make it like for like my generation. And like
at this point, give it to Jon Favreau. See what he can do.
Well, I know Seth Rogen's producing the next one, so at least it's gonna be funny.
Okay, cool.
And so
that should have some humor in it. So yeah, again,
it'll be funny. I want a dark turtle film. I want to go to the roots. I want like Sin City style.
Oh,
I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, we're going to talk some Sin City on the show tonight, as a matter of fact. So.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Well, we can move on because I can talk about turtles all night.
I like turtles.
Hey, we're going to get back to some turtles, as a matter of fact. But right now, let's go back to the DC universe for Kyle here, man. Brainiac is literally one of the earliest characters I can think of in my life.
Brainiac, or Vril Dox, from DC Comics. Main superhero opponent, Superman, and the Justice League. First comic book appearance, Action Comics number 242, July of 1958. Brainiac is a species from Kalu. He intended to get people from other planets and shrunken cities to be enlarged with his growth ray to repopulate Bryac, where he would rule them all. As an artificial intelligence with a supercomputer mind and an android body, Brainiac has superhuman strength, energy blasts, healing abilities, along with flight and telepathy, including mind transference. His signature weapon is a force field belt and a shrinking ray, among many. His weakness is that Brainiac appears to be quite susceptible to bacteria and disease, especially when outside of his skull ship, created by Otto Binder and Al Plastino. Claim to fame, Brainiac shrunk and captured Kandor, the capital city of Superman's home planet, Krypton. Quote, any unique information that dwells within you will be digitized. Your physical forms will be deleted. Such is the fate of this world. But for you, the end comes now.
That when I was a Saturday morning, the DC superhero show that came on. Fuck, I don't know why I'm not thinking of it right now. But the superheroes and the Legion of Doom and all that shit, man. Brainiac was a big part of the Legion of Doom, brother.
Yeah, Brainiac is a super cool character. I had only recently, because like I said, I was always a Marvel kid. I had only recently, within the last couple of years, ever heard of Brainiac. And then, I looked into him. I'm like, oh, that's just super cool. He just absorbs information about a planet and then he just destroys it, and he just moves from planet to planet doing that. He's like Galactus, but like smart.
Yeah, right.
And like, all the times with the Justice League just trying to, defeat him, obviously he's like mainly a Superman villain, but yeah, I just always thought he was a super cool character and I always liked his character design, except for in the one Justice League show, I think, in like the 2004 or 3 show or whatever. I wasn't really a fan of his design on that one, but that's who cares.
Do you remember like at all the old 1980s cartoons and all with that and all that shit?
Oh yeah, for sure. as soon as I'm in something, I'm in it like 150%. You know, and
we're kindred spirits, brother.
Oh yeah.
I don't half-ass nothing.
Oh no way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought he's a super cool villain. I don't think, to me, there wasn't really much that like, it wasn't like relatable or wasn't nothing like that. It was just I just really liked the idea of him just wanting to be the supreme intelligence of the universe type thing. I just thought that was cool.
Oh yeah, it's a good character, man. It's a good, well-written character.
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess we're gonna hang out still in DC for my next on my list, which is Ra's al Ghul, man. Fucking.
Ra's al Ghul, also known as the Physician, from DC Comics. Main superhero opponent, Batman and the Green Lantern. First comic book appearance, Batman number 232, June of 1971. Ra's discovered the secrets of the Lazarus Pit, which he has used to extend his life and powers. His long life has also allowed him to become a very knowledgeable and formidable warrior. Species, human. Al Ghul believes in a world of perfect environmental balance, and to achieve that, we must eliminate most of humanity. As the result of generations of exposure to the Lazarus Pits, Al Ghul's had all of his abilities enhanced to make him one of the most skilled fighters in the DC universe. He is also a gifted alchemist with a genius-level ability to create potions and weapons. A master swordsman, Ra's is even the one who trained Batman himself on how to blade. Weakness. Although the Lazarus Pit restores health, it also drives him mad temporarily, making him incredibly violent and unable to control himself. He once killed his own wife when he exposed himself to the pit. Created by Dennis O'Neil, Neil Adams, and Julius Schwartz. Claim to fame, to distract the good guys, he once stole Bruce Wayne's parents' bodies from their graves. Ruthless. Quote, I have been called criminal and genius. I am neither. I am an artist. I have a vision of an earth as clean and pure as a snow-swept mountain or the desert outside.
I think it's an interesting character. I've always loved it. The history with him and Batman, the fact that he loved Batman, at one point, all that history of that storyline is very cool to me. The
Lazarus Pit.
The Lazarus Pit. Look, you stole the words right out of my mouth. Good stuff, man. Good shit.
I like those villains that are stupid old and just kind of just scheme their way through things in the shadows. Super cool.
Yeah, and that greatly describes this character, actually, man, because he's been around. That's one of his powers, is being able to be immortal at this point and live forever and escape death. And, people, even though he's viewed as a bad guy, and obviously he's on our villains list, in his mind, he's not. You know what I mean? He's very, convinced in his right, and, all that kind of thing. He thinks he's the good guy, which makes it another interesting take on the character. His relationship with what I guess his daughter was, Thalia. I believe it's Thalia.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And that whole storyline with Bruce Wayne is also pretty cool to me. I like all that shit, man. And then her manipulating Bane, and, not just the movie storyline, but in the comic storyline is a better storyline, in my opinion. But
yeah,
very cool. Sure. Very cool. Batman bad guys. We got some Batman and some Superman bad guys.
Hey, this is Kyle from Invicta, and you're listening to Metal-O-Mania with the Crypt and Skully.
see me coming?
Normally, I hate superheroes. Not because they never help out black people. I think they're bad role models for children. You know, just look at them. Look at Wonder Woman. Look at how she dresses. You know, those big-ass red hooker boots. Blue underwear with stars and stuff all over them. They always give women ridiculous weapons. Wonder Woman has a golden lasso that makes you tell the truth. Ooh, not that. The hell is that gonna do? She's gonna catch a bad guy. Gotcha. Oh, nice tits. Superheroes never fight crime in black neighborhoods. No, I would love to see Batman in a black neighborhood. I can see him there. He just, Robin. Yes, Batman. Didn't we park the car right here, man?
guys, Deadpool here, breaking the fourth wall again. You know, I don't even see a wall. To me, it's a big open window. I just wanted to let you know that this and every Toon sandwich is the work of two people.
They live in Australia and they have no connections to anything. If you haven't already, you can help them just by hitting subscribe. And if you're feeling super generous, you can even sponsor their channel.
Nice fourth wall break.
Right?
If I could be a superhero, I would be awesome man. I'd fly around the world fighting crime according to my awesome plan. And if I saw criminals trying to lie, hurting other people and making them cry, I'd haul them off to jail in my awesome van. 'Cause I would be awesome man. See, kids, it's easy. No, kids, I know. Sometimes criminals want you to be a criminal too. They offer you things like drugs and alcohol, but we know to just say no, right? You drunken motherfuckers. Except for my little stone table right here. I know who you guys are. See? I can fucking smell it from here, man. Laugh at everything just a half second too late. Shout out inappropriate shit. I know what's going on, man. Me too. Dude, let's go see that fucking dude tonight. What dude? I don't fucking know, man. What was I singing about now? I forgot. Oh yeah, kids! Kids, let's pretend drugs and alcohol are bad. If I could be a superhero, I would be drug-free boy. Telling the world of the evils of drugs and all of the lives they destroy. Well, I'd take all those junkies getting so high with their needles and bongs and their sticks made of tie. As I burn them alive, I would squeal with joy. 'Cause I would be drug-free boy. If I could be a superhero, I'd be immigration dude. I'd send all those foreigners back to their homes for eating up all of our food and taking our welfare and best jobs to boot, like landscaping, dishwashing, picking our fruit. I'd pass a lot of laws to get rid of their brood. 'Cause I'd be fucking hush falls over the crowd. All the foreign people hate me now, don't ya? No, kids, that verse is meant to be ironical. Tongue in cheek. That means those are all the shitty jobs that nobody wants to do. Well, fuck, now everybody hates me. Come on, kids, it's your turn. I want you to think of a superhero. Just shout one out. I don't give a shit. Wait a minute, dick in the mouth, man, right off the bat? What are you, the owner of this fucking place? I am Dick in the Mouth Man. Stop or I'll put this dick in my mouth. I'll fucking do it. What kind of superhero is that? All right, you know what? I'll come up with the last one for you guys. Let me get serious here for a second. If you could be a superhero, would you be Justice Guy? Making sure people get what they deserve, especially women who lie. Like if a wife left her husband with 3 kids and no job, to run off to fucking Hawaii with a doctor named Bob. You could skin them and drain them of blood so they die, especially that motherfucker Bob. Then you would be Justice Guy. Yes, then you would be a superhero like me and homeless guy.
How many peoples have dreamed of my end? You are no closer than the Babylonians with their swords and fire sticks.
You're the alien from my visions. At last we meet. The being that has caused me so much trouble.
Well, I'm assuming we're backloading our list with DC bad guys because we got a whole bunch of Marvel bad guys coming later on the show.
Yeah.
Since we are a bunch of Marvel guys, man, but we're going to go back to Justin's list, and I love that you have the Governor on here, brother.
The Governor. Originally Brian Blake, who took over his dead brother's identity of Philip to become the sadistic Governor. From Image Comics. Main superhero opponent, Rick Grimes and the Survivors. First comic book appearance, The Walking Dead number 27, April 2006. The governor was a failed music store owner from Georgia who assumed his more aggressive brother's identity when his brother died. Species, human. His goal is driven by sadism and mental disease. The governor seeks to make Woodbury his own little kingdom with himself as the unquestioned king. The governor has the power of sadism. His signature weapons are deception, vicious malice, including rape. His weakness are madness and the frailties of being human. Created by Robert Kirkman, Charlie Adlard, and Cliff Rathburn. The governor's claim to fame in the comics are the torture and rape of Michonne and his clear sexual attraction to his undead niece. Quote, give daddy a kiss.
Yeah, he's pretty crazy. And it's kind of funny because I hated him in the show. I could not wait for that arc to end, and it fucking carried on for 2 seasons.
Yeah,
and I hated him. The actor was great.
Yeah, he was a good actor, right?
He's a phenomenal actor. But I just, like the 2 episodes where they do, like, you trying to feel bad for him, whatever, it was boring as shit. But in the comics, dude, he was just a force, man. And he was so vile and just disgusting behind the scenes. And nobody knew. Even the people that, like, were his friends or supposed friends didn't even knew. Because he really didn't care about anybody but himself.
Yeah.
I mean, he had I want to say it was his niece or his daughter or some little girl that was his family member was like,
right.
I want to say she was like zombified. It was his daughter. Yeah.
Right.
She was like zombified and
in the
he
basement.
was like he was sexually attracted to her.
Yeah.
He, at one point I know he tortured and raped Michonne. And it's just, he ended up cutting Rick's hand off, everything, dude. Like, it was just fucking nuts. And then when his own people found out how he really was, he just started killing them.
Yeah,
he just
started
went
hacking
crazy.
him up. Yeah,
dude, he was nuts, and just the way they depicted him in the show, he just didn't do justice. I mean, whenever he started to snap and go crazy, I was like, yes. But then we never really got to see the governor. Like the scene with him and Rick sitting at the table, I was like, oh shit, Rick's gonna lose his hand. I was like, Rick's gonna lose his hand. But then after it didn't happen, like the rest of the season just lost all attention for me. I was just like, oh, this guy's nobody. I mean, he did end up killing one of my favorite characters in the show, but whatever.
Do you still watch?
He was just. Oh yeah, the last 2 seasons were great for me, but I'm not expecting much from this next one. It's the season finale. Right. And when's the last time you enjoyed any last season of any show? Right. Even shows that I love, dude, like that 70s show is like dear to my heart, but that last season is crap. Like any show I watched, the last season is always crap. So, and these last couple episodes were kind of boring, so I'm not expecting too much. But I'm gonna finish it. I've been watching it since season 1, so I gotta see it through.
I'll get you guys to come on the show one day in the future, and we'll talk about final seasons of shows that don't suck. That'd be a short list. Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that one. That's gonna be a hard one.
That might be tough.
That might be harder than making this list.
Probably harder.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely. You might be right. Well, number 8 on your list, Mr. Kyle, right? Am I doing this in the right order?
Yeah, I put the Xenomorph.
The Xenomorph from Dark Horse Comics. Main superhero opponent, humans, and then the Predators. First comic book appearance, Aliens Volume 1, May of 1988, as a direct sequel to the 1986 film Aliens. This series was called Aliens Outbreak. The Xenomorphs are a species from another part of the universe, genetically altered by an unknown race called the Engineers. Their species is alien xenomorph. Their goal is an insect-like need to protect the queen, conquer, and populate. They have enhanced strength, speed, stamina, along with acidic blood and pure aggression. The xenomorph's primary weapon is their inner pharyngeal jaw, which is capable of shooting from their mouth like a piston with sufficient power to smash through bone and metal, plus a tail that can be used to grab or spear prey. Weakness: vulnerable to heat and fire. Armor-piercing bullets can take them apart, and they can be stunned by ultrasound. Created by Ridley Scott. Claim to fame is their crossover war with the Predators. Quote, Xenomorphs do not speak, so Ash, own the Xenomorphs. You still don't understand what you're dealing with, do you? The perfect organism. Its structural perfection is matched only by its hostility.
Yeah, dude, I love this choice, sir.
From Aliens.
Yeah, I didn't even think about this one.
Growing up, watched Alien movies. It didn't really think much of it or whatever, but I recently, went through and watched all the Alien movies and kind of got into the lore. And the Xenomorphs are just so sick. They're just the perfect, they are like the perfect apex predator that, they just infiltrate and annihilate, right? And I
love it.
I actually haven't gotten into any Aliens comics yet. I've heard that there's some that are really good, and it's on my list to check out. And yeah, I just think, you know, xenomorphs as a species is just such an unreal villain, just because of how powerful and well written the character base is, you know.
Yeah, and we don't care what your DNA is, we're still taking it over. Goddamn it!
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can do whatever, and then they just kind of like, there's so many different types of xenomorphs and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And like even like, okay, yeah, sure, you can cut off its arm, but then you're just probably gonna burn from the aesthetic blood.
Yeah, from their blood. Yeah.
The perfect killing machine.
Fuck yeah, dude! And the scene from the movie, the original movie of the chest exploding out with I mean, that's fucking iconic shit, dude.
Oh yeah.
That's
Love
pop culture lore for sure.
Love it.
I love that you have Xenomorph on there. I love that Aliens is represented. I forgot that it was comics, but it very much was, and I believe still is, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
I feel like everything's got a comic nowadays.
Yeah, right. You're probably right. I think there's still Game of Thrones comics now and shit. So, but yeah, the Xenomorph, and not only that, but when I was younger, there was these series of weird comics that would come out every now and again. It would be these weird kind of matchups. There was one where it was like a predator got into a fist fight with Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? It was like weird ass crossover shit. But there was always seemed to be a new one with an alien. There was an alien, Alien versus Predator, the comic. That was a comic in the 80s that led to the whole eventual movie crossover and all that shit. But people may or may not realize, but that started as a comic idea way back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's like they got the Freddy versus Jason and stuff like that. That was a comic.
Fuck yeah, man.
And then it was like they had versus Ash and then Michael Myers and all that. Those were pretty good too.
Yeah,
and they made crappy movies.
Yeah, then they turn them into shitty movies. Although I hear Ash is coming back, man. I'm super excited about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Awesome.
That character will never die for me. All right, well that's a great number 8, man. I do love your number 8. So I guess that brings me to my number 8, which is Dark Phoenix, brother. I had to go Dark Phoenix, man.
Dark Phoenix, or Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, Phoenix, Mrs. Psyche, and more from Marvel Comics. Main superhero opponent, the X-Men. First comic book appearance, The Uncanny X-Men number 101, October of 1976. Dark Phoenix is the name given to Jean Grey after she became corrupted by the Hellfire Club and turned into a vastly powerful supervillain who proceeded to cause chaos across the universe. Species, originally human, she is a cosmic entity of limitless power. Dark Phoenix's goal is to cause mass destruction on the Earth and to kill the X-Men. Dark Phoenix has the power of pyromancy, flight, telepathy, telekinesis, immortality, and many more. Her signature weapon is her manipulation of energy. Weakness. Her overwhelming power over time, space, energy, and matter practically make her a god. However, even with godlike powers and the ability to simulate super strength with telekinesis, Dark Phoenix's body is still human. Created by Chris Claremont and Dave Cockrum. Claim to fame. At one point, Dark Phoenix travels to a distant part of the universe and devours a star in the Debari system, resulting in a supernova that kills billions of innocent people. Quote, "The mortal Jean Grey is no more. I am fire made flesh. Power incarnate. I am the Dark Phoenix."
So almost threw her on my list.
Directly tied, obviously, with Jean Grey in a lot of ways. Resurrected Jean Grey back to life in several times, in several instances, to kind of use that character, as you will. What a awesome destructive power. Phoenix Force. Some people may know it as Phoenix Force, but eventually Dark Phoenix, man. What an awesome character. X-Men comics, by the way.
Yeah. I hate how they butchered that in the new Fox movie.
Oh god.
The one that they did, like X-Men 3, it was like okay, it still wasn't great, but that new one, man, that was awful because Dark Phoenix is definitely iconic.
Yeah, that was bad.
Dark Phoenix is like one of the ultimate X-Men storylines
ever.
And,
well, when they bring the X-Men to the MCU, I don't think they should touch that storyline for a while.
Yeah, right.
And I don't know, they keep going to that one, but there's so many other storylines.
I want to see Rogue build up against Captain Marvel.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that Rogue could start flying. That would be sweet.
Yeah, dude. I think Rogue should be a villain first.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I like it. I like where your head's at, guys. There's a reason. I got the right guys for this. I knew I did.
Yeah, Dark Phoenix. She's sick, dude. I love her.
Yeah.
Not to mention cool costume, the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
if I brought you back and we did a list of the coolest costumes of superheroes ever, who would be your number ones?
Is it just the comics, or are we talking about the films, everything?
I mean, I'm sorry, the costume itself, just the costume, not even powers or nothing, just the pure costume.
No, but
alone.
I mean, like, does this include the films?
Oh, you pick.
Like those costumes? Well, if it's the films, I definitely like Scarlet Witch's new outfit. I think that looks perfect. That shit looks so damn good, and I like they didn't sexualize it. It's like she looks badass, but it's still beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, it's awesome. It's perfect.
She's beautiful.
Good balance.
I love her. I love her.
Oh yeah. I honestly just found out she was an Olsen.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That blew my mind.
I think for me, off the top of my head, Mr. Sinister.
Good choice.
I love the way he looks. But I think overall, I would probably have to go with the way Onslaught looks.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
Just because it's just like it's so over the top.
I might have
Ghost
to go
Rider's
back.
pretty badass.
I might have to go back to Ghost Rider on that one, man.
Yeah.
Just the fiery skull always does it for me, dude.
Yeah.
Sure. The leather jacket. The
Yeah,
chain.
right. The biker look with a skull on fire, dude. You know.
Does Venom count?
That's
I mean,
hey,
he's not,
yeah.
It's a suit, I guess.
Yeah, it's a suit.
Yeah.
I'll give it. It's symbiotic, but it's a suit.
Well, we could say Eddie Brock's suit then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I believe that brings us to our sevens. Now, dude, Justin, your 7 is a great one, man, and I won't lie, I'm a little ashamed because I did not think of Sin City comics when I was doing my list, and that's a real shame because they're great comics, man.
Kevin, a.k.a. The Creep, last name unknown, from Dark Horse Comics. Kevin's main superhero opponent is Marv. First comic book appearance, The Hard Goodbye, April of 1991. Kevin's origin story is largely unknown, but he came to the Rourke family for counsel over his cannibalism and murder. The Rourke family protected and even joins in with him on his killing of prostitutes in Old Town. His species is assumed to be human. Kevin's goal is to kill and eat as many prostitutes as possible. A mute cannibalistic serial killer with sharp claws and apparent imperviousness to pain, Kevin displays superhuman fighting skills and agility with the appearance of an unassuming farm boy. His signature weapons are his claws and insane speed. His weakness is close quarters fighting. Created by Frank Miller, his claim to fame is that he never makes a sound, even when being eaten by his pet dogs. Quote, Kevin does not speak or make a sound, although he is hinted at having the voice of an angel.
Honestly, I didn't know anything about Sin City until I saw the movie. And then when I watched the movie and I saw the character Kevin, I was just like, oh man, he's so creepy. And then like, it just...
Oh, and now there's graphic novels and everything.
Yeah. Just like, he doesn't speak. He's always got like this blank stare on his face. And like, even at the point where he's being killed, it's like, he's just the same look, not saying anything. He's just, it's almost like he's enjoying watching himself being eaten like by wolves and animals and stuff. And
right, being taken apart.
Yeah, and just the fact that he was a serial killer on top of it, and he kind of had like, almost like these weird superpowers where he was like kind of like a cat. Like he was real quick and he had like claws and shit. And
right, he had the razor blade fingernails or whatever, yeah.
And, just seeing Frodo play him was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that was funny, man. That's right.
That made it even creepier.
Yeah, I thought he did pretty good. Now,
yeah, no, it was great. I loved it.
They didn't touch on any of the super sadistic storylines that are in the comics for Sin.
No,
the character of Kevin was a sadistic dude. He did.
Yeah, when I started to look into it, he's a fucking creep.
horrific stuff,
yeah.
man. Like,
I don't think they could have shown that.
Raping them and everything. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, they left it. I think in the movie they made it to where he was just killing prostitutes and mounting their heads on the wall and like eating them.
Right.
But yeah, I know in the comics, like you said, he like took their skin and was like raping them, and in
the comics it was so much worse. Yeah,
it was literally like every vile fucking thing they can think of. Yeah. This guy did, and then he did it with just a smirk.
And love it. You're right. He seemed to
no sound.
Almost right. Yeah, he could be tying his shoes or cutting your head off with the same kind of fucking.
Yeah, right. Yep. Never peeps a word, not a sound.
Good stuff, man. Are you a Sin City guy, Kyle?
I actually never really got into. I've never even seen the movie, so I'm gonna have to go watch that.
I recommend that you do, brother.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never really knew anything about Sin City. I knew that they were like dark stories, which is sweet.
Super
but
dark.
like it was just something that like I never knew anyone that was like, oh dude, you got to check it out.
Oh.
So then it was never
It's worth
anything, you know.
Now you do, because
Now
we're
I
telling
do,
you,
yeah.
dude.
I think my favorite thing about it is like how the artwork is. It's all black and white, and they throw a little bit of color at you.
Right.
Like sometimes you'll see like the red and the blood,
Right.
or like
right.
you'll see one of the villains going after him. His skin may be a different color.
Well,
or
very
something
much
like
in
that.
theme with the way that the comic delivered. That was the art the comic made itself known on. And I love that Frank Miller, who was behind the making it into a movie, kept that feature of them. Granted, he steered around some of the more darker story elements, perhaps, but he definitely kept the feel of the comic and the look of the comic true to it for the movie delivery, which I think is pretty killer.
I feel like they needed to just to keep that R rating, because it would have had to be an adult film if they would have went with straight comic material.
Yeah,
but
right.
I felt like they executed. I was happy with what they did with it.
Me too, man. Dude, Frank Miller, brother, hats off.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Legendary.
Legend, brother. So great number 7, man. I love your 7, sir. I love your 7. Hey, how many times have women been telling you that? You've been hearing that all your life, right?
Yeah, I'd say about a 9 or 10, but yeah, I got you.
Yeah, right. Hey, I love it, brother. I love it.
I am Atrocitus, Lord and Master of the Red Lantern Corps. I'm the one who will destroy the Guardians and all they stand for.
Good news, lowlives. The city's gone green. Say hello to the new big man of crime, the Green Goblin.
We've been hit. We're going down. This looks like the end for us.
I am Groin.
What? You can't.
I am Groin.
What is he saying?
He says that he wished he had a chance to have sex with all of you.
The name's Lobo. That's L as in lacerate, O as in obliterate, B as in disembowel, and O as in Oh, I guess I can use obliterate twice, huh? What do you think?
form-fitting, don't you think?
So on to your number 7, Mr. Kyle. And another one, man, great franchise that's turned into one of the biggest toy franchises, by the way, in our nation's history. Now, you know, and that is Megatron from Transformers.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Megatron from Marvel Comics in 1984 to 1991, Dreamwave Productions from 2002 to 2004, and IDW Publishing from 2005 to present. Main superhero opponent, Optimus Prime and the Autobots. First comic book appearance, Transformers, April of 1984. Once a lonely miner from the Decepticon city, Kaon, Megatron was the victim of a rigid caste system in the lower parts of society on his original planet, and through gladiator battle he was able to join the Senate and push for reform. When his ideas were ignored, he became a violent revolutionary demanding a world where his Decepticons controlled everything. Species? A Transformer. His goal is to see the Decepticons rule the universe. Transforming into many objects is his primary ability, but Megatron has robotic physiology, which makes him strong and formidable. He also harnesses the power to form a connection with a black hole in distant space, along with antimatter manipulation. An array of weapons are at his disposal, but his primary one is definitely the fusion cannon mounted to his right arm, capable of shooting blasts of energy powerful enough to incapacitate most Autobots and even punch right through them. Weakness: Megatron is arrogant to a fault. He constantly thinks he's the most powerful being in the universe, yet he gets his metal ass handed to him in every issue. Even when he had Optimus Prime himself on death's door, his arrogance led to a borderline mutual kill. Created by Bill Mantlo, Jose Delbo, Jeff Sr., Andrew Wildman, Dwayne Turner, Bob Budansky. His claim to fame is he killed Optimus Prime. Quote, "That's because everything I touch is food for my hunger for power."
Great. There's a lot of really good Transformers material and great villains. My only problem with Transformers is that it's so all over the place, and there's no solid continuity.
Right.
Yeah.
Their canon is all over the place, right?
Every generation, even all all of the movies they made, they all retcon each other. Every single movie retcons each other, like the one before it.
Yeah.
There's no cohesive. Okay, this is set in stone. This is what happens. You know?
No, they were just like, watch these giant metal things fight.
Yeah, that's exactly. You just got to enjoy seeing robots fighting
Michael
robots.
Bay, dude.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Explosions.
Michael Bay ruined my childhood.
Michael Bay ruined my childhood.
I mean, look what he did with the Turtles. I'm just saying.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But
no,
Megatron. He's a super awesome villain. You know, he's like the guy. He's just evil. He's like the evil counterpart to Optimus Prime. It's like that would be like Batman without a Joker, right? Like, you know, you can't.
I always preferred him over Optimus Prime, dude.
Me too.
Like,
that's because you're a metalhead. We always root for the bad guy.
But something about his moral compass always felt.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt more on his side all the time.
Yeah,
he seemed to care more about his own people.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Than the greater good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I actually recently went back and I watched the 80s cartoons, and it's just so preposterous to me how like his transformation. Because growing up for me, Megatron was a tank, but like seeing him, and he's a pistol, and then he's a giant robot, and he transforms into a pistol, and then Starscream holds him in his hand and shoots it. I'm like, what?
Oh my god, that's
like
horrible.
that is the bad, like that's the main bad guy. It's just funny.
The 80s cartoon left a lot to be desired, but the 80s cartoon did have a cool voice for Megatron, though, man. The guy who did the
best
voice.
voice.
Nobody summons Megatron.
Yeah.
I love the thing I love about the cartoons is that the voice acting is always like nailed for everything.
Yeah.
So when people are like, "Oh, why do you still watch cartoons?" and it's like, dude, it's just perfect.
It's awesome. Fuck, I still do. Fuck, I'll be 50 this year, brother. I ain't never stopping. Fuck you.
Can't never stop. And the T-Rex Megatron, super sick.
Super sick.
Yeah, I always thought it looked awesome.
You guys got great sevens, man. Nobody record that. Nobody record that me saying that. My 7 is the God of Mischief himself, man. Predates Marvel Comics, but of course Marvel Comics, it has made him a key and central figure, and that is Loki, man.
Loki, or Loki LaFaceon, from Marvel Comics. His main superhero opponent is Thor. First comic book appearance, Journey into Mystery number 85, October of 1962. Loki is the birth son of the frost giant Laufey, the former king of the Jotunheim. Odin declared war and killed Laufey. When Odin saw Loki as a baby, he adopted him as his own. His species is Jotun, the frost giant, or a god. His main goal is to conquer and rule the whole of Asgard. Loki is a master manipulator and uses deceit, superhuman strength, durability, and cunning to achieve his goals. Also known for astral projection, his signature weapon is a sword that cuts, untangled, or immortal cursed beings. And magic. Weakness. For all his magic, Loki is physically weaker than most gods. Also overconfident and arrogant. Often his personal feelings, such as revenge, overshadow his better judgment. He sometimes can't control the creatures he summons. Created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Larry Lieber. Loki's claim to fame is he is the reason the Avengers were formed in the first place. Quote, "By the evil that doth sustain me, when freedom comes to Loki, then shall everlasting defeat come to the accursed Thor."
from Odin's world, from the minds of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby themselves, brother. The comic legend names there, my friend. So.
Oh yeah, Loki's sick.
Loki's actually one of my favorite things, even just in mythology alone.
Me too. Me too. I love the Loki story separate from comics, but also involved with it. So it's a win-win for me. An important part of the Thor universe, and for us comic nerds, the Avengers were formed specifically to take on Loki. You know, in the movies and in the comics.
Yeah, they did a great job with that.
Yeah, very nice.
Sure.
And what's his
I like
face?
that how they're bringing him back in the show. That's gonna be amazing. Dude, I'm waiting. When I saw the preview, my jaw was just on the ground the whole time, dude. Like that thing is just sprinkled with secrets in there, dude. It's insane.
He's a great Loki too, man. What the actor?
Perfect.
Hiddleston.
Yeah, he's a great. He is a big metalhead, by the way, too, man. A big Slayer fan and shit. So.
Oh no,
that's
way.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Great. He just got like so much more respect.
Hey, he plays Loki, the god of mischief, and he's a metalhead, brother. So
perfect.
And I believe he dated the girl that plays the Marvel Universe, Captain Marvel, for a minute too, in real life, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Brie Larson? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Brie Larson. Can't go wrong with that. They say not so many nice things about her, but she sure is a pretty girl. So. All right. Well, let's do our sixes, guys. Now. What's cool about, let's start this for our number 6 purposes. I'll tell you what, Kyle, let's do your number 6 first because me and Justin have the same number 6. So let's do yours, which is Onslaught. You alluded to him a little bit earlier, and one of my favorite characters for sure.
Onslaught, or The Entity, from Marvel Comics. Main superhero opponent, the X-Men. First comic book appearance, X-Men Volume 1, number 15, May of 1996. Onslaught is a psionic entity which grew into creation from the consciousness of Professor Charles Xavier and Magneto when the darkest aspects of Magneto's mind merged with Professor X's darker nature that became its own being. Species, a human mutant fused being. Onslaught believed that adding the powers of both Richards and X-Men to himself would enable him to attain his goal, conquering and controlling the entire world. Psychic omnipotence, among many other powers, including mind control, concussive blasts, and star system level power. He once punched Juggernaut across the entire planet with a single blow. Onslaught's signature weapons are his sheer power and determination. Weakness. It is possible to bind Onslaught, linking him against his will to the physical world by having a non-mutant character enter his energy form. Created by Scott Lobdell, Mark Wald, Andy Kubert. His claim to fame is he played a role in the death of the Avengers, the Hulk, Fantastic Four, and Doctor Doom, which led to the Heroes Reborn reboot. Quote, I am a great and terrible force beyond the comprehension of the human mind. I am a god.
Yeah, Onslaught, he doesn't get enough, I think, mainstream, acknowledgement. But, like, after I learned about Onslaught, I was like, this guy's nuts. It's just like a mix of Magneto and Professor X, and he's just so overpowered, and he tries to take Franklin Richards' powers and to take over the world. And his character design, he looks like a mix between Magneto and Shredder, and I don't even know what else, but it's just sick.
It's a cool design, yeah.
And his story where he pretty much defeats he literally kills almost every single Avenger and X-Men, and Onslaught he's just a beast. He was able to just flick away the Hulk. It's just
Think about what you just said.
Where did he originate from?
What's that?
Where did he originate from?
That was basically the consciousness of Xavier and Magneto were brought together.
Okay, so he started in X-Men, correct?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, so basically at one point, this is the 90s when comics were so over the top, right? And it was just hyperdrive. So basically Magneto and Professor X are chatting or whatever, and Professor X is like, yeah, I guess my way is not gonna work. We're gonna have to start fighting back and killing people, right? And then this evil part of him kind of awakens and bonds with Magneto, and it's such a cool
this
story.
Entity that would go on to become Onslaught. Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I remember him. I just couldn't quite remember his origin.
Oh man, well, and then there was the storyline where he's basically trying to take over Dr. X's mind and all that good stuff.
When he comes back.
Great 6, brother. That's a great 666. We got good 666s, you guys.
There's a perfect one for that too, man.
Fuck yeah, man. You can't get wrong, brother. Yeah, a perfect 6 if you don't mind my saying, man. Mephisto. We both got Mephisto here.
Mephisto, or perhaps the devil himself, from Marvel Comics. His main superhero opponent is the Silver Surfer, the Ghost Rider, Doctor Strange, and more. First comic book appearance was the Silver Surfer #3, December of 1968. Species, a demon. His goal is to trick and corrupt mankind, making them pliable to his will, therefore collecting souls. Mephisto is an experienced and highly skilled liar and strategist. He is also a highly skilled sorcerer with near infinite knowledge of arcane and occult subjects. His signature weapon is the real art of the deal. Weakness? Mephisto's powers are linked with his extra-dimensional realm, and his powers rapidly decrease the longer he is away from there. Created by Stan Lee and John Buscema, Mephisto's claim to fame, in addition to trapping the soul of Dr. Doom's mother in his realm, he is also the creator of every Ghost Rider going back 1 million BC. Also was the serpent in the Adam and Eve tale. Funny side note, in Marvel Comics Super Special #1, which came out in September of 1977, Mephisto battles none other than the demon himself, Gene Simmons of Kiss in full makeup. Quote from Mephisto, "Well may you tremble, for you gaze upon Mephisto."
Basically Marvel's version of Satan, right? I mean,
yeah,
am I wrong here?
That's what he is. He's the devil of the Marvel.
He's friends with death. He's fucking, he made Ghost Rider again. I've said it before and I'll say it again. One of my favorite characters of all time. But he's the one that signed the fucking contract to bring the first Ghost Rider into existence and shit, man. So
I know he also caused a lot of trouble with the Silver Surfer for a while too.
Oh yeah, great. Those are great storylines too.
Appearance, right?
What's that?
Is that
his first appearance? Was the Silver Surfer in the '60s.
Oh, you're right.
I think so, yeah.
That's right. I was thinking you're right. I was thinking it was Fantastic Four, but no, you are right. It is he originally shows up in Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, and any storylines involving Silver Surfer, I love. So.
Oh, for sure.
I know recently he's been messing with Scarlet Witch a lot.
Yeah, all the fan theories for the show. Just being like, I gotta get Mephisto.
Well, yeah, because they thought it was based on everything off the House of Madness or House of M.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Kyle? Though you love what?
Oh, I love Mephisto because I'm a Doctor Doom guy. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
And Mephisto is a longtime enemy of Doctor Doom. So just like trapping his mom's soul and kind of. Doing that whole thing.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I forgot about that.
He tortured Dr. Doom's mom, dude. You can't torture Dr. Doom's mom, dude.
Yeah, man. Like, come on. And so, I love Mephisto for sure.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. That's good stuff.
I mean, he caused Wanda to lose her mind.
Literally.
That's how she created her kids with his power, and she didn't realize it. And then he absorbed them, took them back, and when she lost her mind, she literally killed, almost all the mutants. She was just like, no more mutants. And then all the X-Men were gone. Everybody with mutations was just fucking gone.
What a phenomenal storyline.
All because of Mephisto.
Yeah, all of that can be traced back to Mephisto and his interference, man. Hey, and he's friends with Death, don't forget.
And I think he deals with Nightmare as well. Isn't he connected with him?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All them evil fuckers are connected.
Mephisto, yeah. It felt right that we have Mephisto at 6, man. Him being the devil. So.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Fuck yeah. Well, that was a phenomenal set of 666s, guys. You guys do 666 all right. I want you to know that. If I ever got to get some friends together to do 666 with, you're the fucking guys.
Sure.
Sounds good to me.
Takes a lot more than that to stop the blob!
Our experiment worked. We were once human. Now, we're something more. Now you can call me... how about... Vector?
I'm Vapor.
Ironclad. I'm gonna go with X-Ray.
Back at the cryogenics place, weren't you wondering why Ink didn't morph into her human form and just walk out of there with the other workers?
Yeah.
cybernetic intelligence created by Dr. Henry Pym.
Well, Batman, basically you messed up.
All right, awesome. That was pretty good. We had Hate Ritual, Grip, and Grunge off of Compelled by Evil, followed up by Hideous Divinity. That was pretty fucking cool, too.
That is a wild cover. I'm still kind of shocked by it. The Thralls and I, we actually reviewed the newest EP from Hideous Divinity, LV426, and if you get that reference, you're my friend. It's aliens, and
I'm lame.
That's the entire thing on this EP, but they covered Coheed and Cambria's Delirium Trigger, which is an odd thing for a stupid, heavy death metal band to cover. But it kind of works. It's just a very different approach. They really kind of make it their own song. So I kind of think that's really interesting.
It's awesome. It definitely fucking was a killer song, that's for sure.
Last beats.
Great way to end part 1 of the first episode 211. So we covered a little bit so far of the comic book villains. And speaking of which, tell us a little bit. What's your favorite comic book? Which one, when you were growing up, did you every week we're dying for the next release and you had to have it?
Oh man, I mean, probably Batman, or like the regular Batman title, or Detective Comics. I was always big on that. He's, Cape Crusader, the world's greatest detective. I always latched onto that because I liked the whole whodunit thing. And he was whodunit, plus he beat the shit out of people and had cool gadgets and a really awesome car. That's literally...
combined all the best things.
He looks absolutely awesome, too. And then I would say Uncanny X-Men and Wolverine. I got really big into those, when Wolverine got an ongoing title, and I just kind of latched onto those. They were really solid. They were really dark and kind of violent too. And at that point, I don't think the comics code was really a thing anymore, thank God, because I was just buying off a newsstand.
Okay.
But I was hyper about those, and I needed to get those. And actually, I think that was kind of where I had to divide my allowance money between, all right, I can spend this much on baseball cards, and then I can still get these comics.
Right. That's good. No, smart kid. You had to set your priorities and know what you wanted.
I mean, it was more than likely it was going to be the comics because, it was cool stories.
That's
cool
awesome.
pictures.
And you were collecting them right away?
Pretty much. I want to say the first comic I ever got was a Batman comic, and I still remember the artist. It was Jim Aparo that was doing all the art, 80s Batman title. And I was just kind of drawn in, and I was looking at all the line work and everything on there. It's I could figure out how to draw this. And of course you have, killer villains, and your hero's absolutely awesome in there. Yeah, it was easy to fall in love with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, is that your favorite villain then as well?
Oh, villains.
If you had to name.
Oh God. I mean, Thanos is definitely up there.
Okay.
He snapped and made a lot of people disappear.
That's pretty top.
Ra's al Ghul is absolutely awesome too. I'm a big fan of Ultron, just because he's kind of that original story, before the Terminator came along and Cyberdyne. It's no, he was the original. Don't mess too much with artificial intelligence and technology. You're making it too smart, and if it gets too smart, it's going to figure out, I was built to solve your problems, and wait a minute, you're the cause.
You're the problem, right?
I've just figured it all out. You're the problem. Also, you taught me how to hate. That's a terrible idea, but you did it.
Yeah, right?
So,
that's really funny.
Ultron's always been way up there. Plus, James Spader doing his voice in the movie Age of Ultron, I was dude, that's too perfect, because he sounds like he's talking down to everyone. I love it.
Well, very cool. Very cool. So thank you so much for helping me tonight with getting the show kicked off. And we're going to remind everybody again, make sure you come back Friday night. We're going to kick off part 2. To be completely truthful, I was not into comic books. I like the movies. I like comic movies. I'm totally into that.
That's a good one.
Which I guess is probably lame for all the actual comic book collectors. They hate the movies.
Actually, I'm for me, I think they're both good. You just kind of have separate universes.
Right.
They've definitely messed with some of my characters in the movies. Oh, that's not canon, but whatever, it's still good.
Right. The book was better. Like, the comic book was better.
It depends. Sometimes, actually, there are some points in the movies where I think they kind of did it a little bit better in some respects, but most of the time, and it may be just because I grew up with them. I've been reading them for years.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of years. Let's not even think about that. And I'm just used to the stories, and I don't know. That might be the thing. That might be the thing for most of them too, because they're part of our childhood and our adolescence, and
the nostalgia.
We latch onto that stuff.
Yeah.
Never underestimate the power of nostalgia.
No shit, right? All right, well, guys, I'm going to wish Crypt a speedy recovery, and honestly, wish myself lots of patience. We're going home tonight, and he's going to be in a lot of pain. So hopefully he won't be too bad, and he'll recover quickly and be back on the mic again, yelling at you guys here soon.
Oh, I look forward to it. I look forward to all the fun conversations that I have with him, and speedy recovery, dude. Get well soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you on Friday.
What's up, everybody? This is Vinny from Belushi Speedball, and you're listening to Metal-O-Mania! With the Crypt and Skully!
Hi, Billy Mays here, and have I got a special offer for you? Have you been down and out and losing your faith in humanity? Well, we have the cure right here. It's called
Metal-O-Mania.